Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. I want to recap the trade I took today on SPY. I took multiple trades, but I want to go over the trade that was over 100% returns on the SPY options. Obviously, when I'm trading, I might be trading off the ES chart, but I'm looking at SPY to take these trades. So, what was the trade idea? It was a bigger time frame trade. It was on the 4 hours. So look at this chart on the right. I'll zoom it in for you guys. If you guys look, here is the chart. We had this breakdown going into this morning, or going in from yesterday, going to today. So as you can see, this pivot low, we were breaking it pretty clean level if you look at it. And obviously we have this huge gap from over here that most likely we're going to be testing these highs. I'm not sure when, but there's a big possibility we might go back up and test this level first, then go back and test this level down here. But that was my notion. That was the reason I'm taking this trade, is because I think we are going to be heading lower, at least in the short term, and we might get the bounce. Who knows? Obviously, if you look at, I'm going to pull up a daily chart. This level is pretty key right here, and the reason this level is pretty key, I'm going to mark it over here, the high of this candle, retesting it, just kind of how I like looking at support and resistance. That's a pretty key level. So as you see, let's just go back to what I was talking about earlier. We had this breakdown. Let me get rid of this line right here. We had this pivot low, bounce, broke down, so now I'm expecting a bounce, put new lows in. Obviously, that didn't happen to plan, but we might go a little bit higher, go into these lows, and then go lower. That might be, and then the final spot, probably 37.70 on ES is where I think we might be headed. But if you look on the 4 hour, that's what I'm looking at. That's what the trade I wanted. So this morning, obviously, this is where we're opening up around down here around the 38.35, and I'm looking at 38.55. So 20 points higher is where I want to get short. So I'm going to break this down on a 1 minute, because this is how I took the trade. So if you look at the 1 minute, and this is the exact spot I actually took the trade, as you can see. Let me mark it out for you guys just so you guys see. This was the candle I got in on this pop back up. So the reason I got back in on this candle, I'm going to draw a little line right here. I'll change the color just so you guys can see. I'm going to make it orange so you guys can see the pivot low. Once we came into the level, I wanted to break a pivot low. And what do I mean by a pivot low? It's pretty much just when we're putting in higher lows, I want a higher low to snap, pretty much. I want it to almost change trend, because as you can see, we're putting in a higher low, putting in a higher low, and just look at this trend. We keep on going. So if we're gonna stay with trend, if we're gonna stay with trend, we're gonna keep making that trend, the higher low, higher highs. And as you can see, so since we're going into a resistance level, I'm anticipating that the trend is going to change. So if you're a little bit more risky, you could take the trade just straight into the level, but you could probably top ticket, but it's a little more risky. You might not be right all the time, and you're not always going to be right all the time. I'm wrong plenty of times, but this is the way I like taking the trade. I like waiting for the trend to reverse by having some confirmation by a pivot low breaking, so that is no longer the trend. The uptrend is getting halted, at least for a little bit. So the trend breaks, and then I'm looking to get back in on a bounce back up, which is where I'm able to get in, and I want to risk off the highs. So I'm able to risk off higher days. I get back in, and I know there's a lot of meat on the bone to the downside, and the reasoning there's so much meat on the bone is look at this move all the way up. Look at this move, and you have this pivot low right here, very precise level. You know you're probably going to get a big wash through that level, and that's what I was anticipating, and that's where I was able to cover my short, take profits on my puts. And guys, this was the trade I took. There was also another trade that I did take, a little bit more of a scalp, but I'll break it down on 5 minute, because this is actually how I took the trade on a 5 minute chart. But in this trade, it's a little bit more you once you're watching the markets, you're able to feel the markets. I knew this big candle right here. I mean, I could draw some fibs on it if you want. I know this big candle right here is going to have probably a retracement. If we get back down to it, I know we're probably going to bounce a little bit. So once we put in some big green bars, not huge green bars, but once our green bars, we're closing above the previous candle, once we're able to break out in a sense of the previous candle, I was waiting for a little dip, and I was able to get in the trade. And where I wanted to take profits, and where I did take profits actually, is here. I'm going to come back down over here. So I was able to get in the trade. It was around this area, if I remember correctly. Pretty sure it was around this area. Obviously, it was on the 5 minute. That's what I'm saying. But it was around this area. Confirmation was kind of ready, telling me, hey, probably need a little bounce. I wanted to sell into this consolidation zone. Obviously, you guys know how I always talk about consolidation zones, how I think they're very important. So, and that's also why if you do look, where's the last consolidation zone over here? Where did we bounce? Pretty much right at the exact spot. So where we're going to go back up to this consolidation zone, that's exactly where we went to this consolidation zone. A little bit complicated, obviously. It's just how my brain works, how I see the markets, guys. So if you guys like this content, that was where I took the trade, obviously, and then we got the bounce. I was able to sell into this consolidation zone. And it just happened to work out really well seeing the markets well today. So if you guys like this content, guys, please subscribe, please share this with someone, and have a great day. And always remember to manage your risk while trading.